here's Steve Bannon. I want to say it was 10 years ago. Maybe it was even more. There was a right-wing talker named Michelle Malkin. I don't know if she's still doing anything. I haven't heard from her in years. I think she even had a book that was basically espousing the wonderfulness of Japanese internment. Maybe is she still on a news?
Still on social media sites, it looks like.
And I think she just got a little bit less, people were slightly embarrassed by that in defense of internment. And that was back in 2004. This is like when we were at peak.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And now, and that put her in many respects in the sort of the cuckoo column.
Conservatives are like, let's invite her to everything, please.
Yeah. But apparently now it's just sort of mainstream. Like, of course, we were going to intern Japanese American Japanese citizens, I should say. But here is Steve Bannon. It was just, we figured we could just pull the trigger on this.
All-out war. And the other line of work, of deportations, President Trump finally had enough of it. Aliens Enemies Act of 1798. President John Adams, this is about the French, this kind of fallout from the French Revolution, of cracking down here. Didn't want us to get sucked into European wars. That sound familiar? And they passed this act. President Trump used it. It was the same act to deter or do the internments, I guess, of the Japanese after Pearl Harbor. Always very controversial, although there was a lot.
Not just the Japanese, the Americans.
Right.
It was not the Japanese. We were not capturing prisoners of war and interning them in camps. It was Americans.
Japanese Americans. Yeah. Well, they don't count to Steve Bannon. Also, the aside of sound familiar about getting sucked into European wars, dude, what does that have to do with Ukraine? What does this policy have to do with Ukraine? Like, what connection are you making there? The targeting of mostly Latino immigrants, and also anybody that dissents on Palestine that may have some sort of Middle Eastern background. What connection are you trying to draw here with Ukraine and basically the War of 1812? It's so clumsy and lazy.
To deter or do the internments, I guess, of the Japanese after Pearl Harbor. Always very controversial, although there was a lot that they don't talk about today. There was many voices saying that should have happened after Pearl Harbor, given the fact that we didn't know what the hell was going on. Mike Davis.
That's his guess now.
We didn't know what the hell's going on. I mean, even if you, in his God knows what substance-addled mind, can justify putting Americans in camps because they're of Japanese descent during, in the wake of Pearl Harbor. What is it that we don't know what the hell's going on in this country that supposedly justifies it?
I don't know if he's doing it purposefully, but that was Trump's opening line after coming down the escalator
100%.
about we've got to, until we can figure out what the hell is going on.
What is it that we don't know? That what the hell is going on?
We know that immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than regular Americans.
We know they add something like $26 billion into our Social Security system over the years.
Yeah, and they don't get the benefits that citizens do if they are full citizens and have documentation. Yeah, it's just ethno-nationalism, and I'm sick of hearing just because he has some kind of pseudo-populist messaging. Like the idea that Gavin Newsom had him on his show, and I haven't listened to the interview, but if it's anything like the Charlie Kirk thing, it's basically Gavin Newsom conceding every point to the right. Steve Bannon is the moderating force right now, really, in the Trump administration for some of this stuff, trying to get Elon Musk out. But that is an indictment on how far this administration is. Like in 2016 or when he came in 2017, there was Reince Priebus, there was Rex Tillerson. These people are awful, like, capitalist Republicans, but they're a little bit more attached to the shared reality that we all experience. These are the freaks that are in this administration. We're hoping that Marco Rubio will put the brakes on something, and he's retweeting Bukele as they shave the heads of prisoners and put black hoods on them, sending them to a penal colony in El Salvador, a black site that's even worse than what we could do at Guantanamo Bay.
Go ahead.
Good. No, good.
Bannon's a big phony, and the funny thing is him citing John Adams goes against his whole core brand proposition, which
Yes.
John Adams was the oligarchic guy.
Right.
Thomas Jefferson and like Madison were the sort of populisty guys. And Nathan Robinson points out, and I'll quote this from the Brennan Justice Center, I think. The leader of the political opposition, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, fought back, arguing the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions that the act violated the First Amendment's protection against free speech and a free press, because talk about the whole France stuff going on like there. Jefferson was more sympathetic to the French Revolution than someone like John Adams was. John Adams wanted a king. John Adams was more of like a sort of like founder who liked the centralized power, and so it's very funny for Bannon to throw his entire posture off, which is all it ever is, because he's not actually.
He didn't even know anything about this. He didn't know anything about this.
And he's not actually against Musk either. Like all this stuff, Bannon is a performance
He
artist.
is, yeah. And I think he's like a little bit sad that he went to jail for Daddy Trump, but he's still not in the inner circle, and Stephen Miller is doing his thing. But it is funny that he makes that. They were arguing, Levitt said at the briefing, that because the French made some joke about how the Trump administration should return the Statue of Liberty, and Levitt was like, well, the only reason you're not speaking German right now is because of us. Give me a break. The only reason we're not still a British colony in many ways is because of the French helped us out in our revolution. And then maybe we somewhat returned the favor by being Johnny-come-latelys in World War II. It was the Soviets that lost tens of millions of soldiers fighting the Nazis and was responsible for killing a significant majority of the Nazis in World War II. So it's just like this whole nationalist stuff. It's offensive to the French. I guess that's not the top of our concerns, but like it's ahistorical and stupid.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.